So what I think that really jumped out at me first in this case, and I think a lot of people, when you bring up the Watts case and says, "Oh, there's a book about Chris Watts or letters that he wrote that it was going to be some sort of," and I don't mean this like Chris Watts, he does apologize, but it's not anyone saying, "Oh, he was a it's someone else's fault." I think it was rather clear in your foreword where you acknowledge that he's guilty.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
And so I thought that was kind of a good start. And I've had lots of people when I do my channel and there's stuff about Chris Watts, is I'm like, listen, he's pled guilty. All right. Whether you like it or not, whether you think there are mitigating circumstances or aggravating circumstances, the reality of it is that he pled guilty, and that's a fact, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So why don't you tell everyone out there how it is you came to start writing Chris Watts? Why?
Well, I saw it on TV the day that he had the infamous front porch interview, and watching that interview, I knew that there was something really hidden in him. I could tell by watching him that he was guilty, and I wanted to know more. So as a little bit of time went by, we didn't hear anything as to what happened other than he was just guilty and that was it. I decided I wanted to write that story. So from the very first letter I wrote Christopher, I was very clear that I thought the crime was heinous. I told him that, and I asked him if he would like to tell his story because I believed that he had much more to the story. That was right before, that was the beginning of February, and so that was right before the FBI came out to see him. And he agreed with me through back and forth correspondence a few times that he would like to give me his story. So when I went to see him, we made an agreement. He would not receive any money. He can't receive any money.
Okay.
And in exchange for that, he would just give me the story if I would write about his forgiveness in the book. And so we agreed and went forward from there.
Okay. Yeah, and obviously, I think everybody wants to make sure he wasn't going to profit in any way. And, there's a sale of the house going on up there in Frederick, and it's been delayed so that, I've speculated. Obviously, I've looked at the court file, but it looks like the, process has been delayed. And I think a lot of that is there's a civil suit, but they want to make sure that kind of that gets resolved and they can attach it and the value's there, so the money would go to the Ruzick family.
Correct.
So that's good. Now, obviously, you're not giving the book away. You're going to sell it. What do you intend to do, if anything, if you have any profits from this? Is it going to go to any charity, or are you going to keep it for yourself, which is perfectly fine in my book because, it's your work. You should be rewarded for your work. So if that's
right.
what you're going to do, that's fine too.
Well, some of each. I mean, I certainly am going to donate some money to a few different causes. And how much yet, I don't know, because I have no idea how much the book is going to make.
Sure.
I had quite an outlay in doing the book myself, so I have to pay myself back into my savings for that first.
Sure.
And then make a decision how to split up between some of the charities and myself. It's
Sure.
been 6 months of grueling work that I have done to get the book out as quickly as I have.
No, I understand completely. And, our time is valuable. You have resources, you've traveled, and we'll get into that as well. But, yeah, I mean, I have no problem if people are going to, for lack of a better term, write a book and people enjoy it. You should be rewarded for that. So I'm not, please don't take it as any kind of criticism, whatsoever.
Oh, no.
And I'm sure you've noticed, we were talking about it, we went live today on our channel. And, one thing that being on YouTube will do is certainly gives you thick skin, because no matter what you do, somebody's not going to like what you say, how you said
Oh
it.
boy.
So, there's some people that no matter what, they're not going to listen to it. They're not going to read it. They've made their minds up, and they're not going to do anything. So,
Right.
and
And that's okay.
yeah, no, it's okay. But I've always looked at it as like, let's talk about the facts. These are what happened. This is the reality. And I think that what you did, laying out the facts, kind of a history to give the people a history of what's going on. A lot of it is, it's public knowledge. I mean, obviously, a lot of the stuff that came out about Christopher Watts from the beginning of this case to the end. There's so much information out there about him, and if you follow the case, but for an everyday person who hasn't been following this case on an everyday basis, like so many people have, I think your book is a good backdrop and provides a good history, and you work in your conversations with Chris Watts to give it that context. And like I said, I really noticed the first thing was in the foreword. You're like, you're not here to apologize for Chris Watts. You're not here to say he's poor Chris Watts. He made his decisions, and he accepted responsibility for it. But yeah, I understand your thinking of what's making him tick, right?
Right. Absolutely. I mean, he's a murderer, and there's something in his mind that has obviously disconnected, and caused him to do something so horrible. And then, even though he admits it, still having problems with saying I am a murderer, or having problems with being called that, or having problems hearing that he's considered a monster.
Yeah.
So it's always kind of been my goal through the whole thing, is to set the record straight as far as the pieces of the puzzle, putting them together, helping to put closure for the family, if that's possible, so that they can move forward. At least for Shanann's family, his family still hangs on to the fact that Shanann murdered the girls, and it just is not true.
Yeah,
she did not.
Yeah, and I think, that's very clear. And I don't know how much you know about me, but I've do criminal defense work. I've been a criminal defense attorney for 25 years, and some people are still saying, "Oh, okay, Chris Watts didn't do it. Chris Watts didn't do it. Didn't kill the kids." And I keep trying to tell them, yes, he pled guilty to it. Okay, he pled guilty to it, so he admits it as a matter of law and as a matter of fact that that's what happened. And he's repeated that not only in his guilty plea to the court, but to his interview to the FBI, and now in his own letters to you, he acknowledges that he did it.
Yeah.
So,
yes,
hopefully this will put to rest the debate, although I don't think there should be any debate as to whether he killed, Bella and Celeste. He did. He admits it, and he explains how he did it. Now, some people, it's going to be, they're never going to believe it. But when you get it from repeatedly these multiple occasions, I think, is he trying to cover for somebody? Who does he have to cover for? And we'll talk about that